Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, before I begin with this lesson, I want to start it off by giving all the glory and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah HaKadosh, double honor to the elders and the apostles, great millstone. Peace and blessings be to all the Akim now pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom and Yahweh Shema Shai Barakathon. So I don't really know what I'm entitled this lesson at the moment. But what I'm gonna be getting into is this podcast that was posted on Natural News, right? But they upload a lot of them to this app called Brighton. A lot of things that they bring out that they can't necessarily post on YouTube or whatever because of Esau's algorithms. But as y'all see in the title of this podcast, it says Situation Update, January 1st, 2023, the Year of Contraction, right? Which is a heavy title to be posted, by this Edomite, because, through the spirit, brothers be, speaking about those contractions, those great birth pains that we are approaching, all the time through the spirit, which is actually scriptural. And I'm gonna grab that here in a second, right? But the year of contraction, and as a matter of fact, I want to grab the definition for that word contraction, right? Because that's one of the key words in that title, man. All right, and we know, the times that we are approaching. That's approaching America. You know what I mean? The economy is, getting worse and worse. You know what I mean, by the minute. You know what I mean? This year the dollar, very well can crash. You know what I mean? And I don't Ratazah it does. And we know that's gonna lead to a whole plethora of other different prophecies coming to pass because, like I said, those contractions. You know what I mean? But this is the definition for the word contraction. It says the process of becoming smaller. The general contraction in the industry did further damage to morale, labor pains, cramps, travail, reduction in size, shrinkage. You know what I'm saying? And the brother Amon, Amon Gabar from the New York camp, the brother talks about that squeeze all the time. You know what I mean? That pressure from above and pressure from below. You know what I mean? And this is Esau basically making his move, and this is what it's all gonna come down to. You know what I mean? That pressure from above and pressure from below. You know what I mean? Especially when they start to establish, that NWO, that's when that squeeze is really going, hit. That's when it's really gonna tighten. You know what I mean? Because how we comfortable right now, eventually that's not gonna be the case. Eventually that squeeze is gonna touch everybody. You know what I mean? And then that's when your faith really gonna be tested. You know what I mean? That hour of temptation that brothers always talk about and that Christians love to get into as well, but really don't understand it. Hey, that's gonna be that squeeze, man. All right? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to make a conscious decision on whether or not you wanna, bow down to Esau or whether you wanna stand 10 toes down for Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right? But I want to grab this real quick in the book of Ezekiel 7:5 because this is all that's coming, man. You know what I mean? If you really pay attention, you can see that there's really no future for America. The future for America is destruction. And we know that before the destruction takes place, it tells us in Revelation 18th chapter that city is going to be basically cast down with violence, roughly paraphrasing. This is what's coming to America. Uproars. You know what I mean? In this podcast, I watched it. I ain't watched the whole thing, but I watched it to, when they was talking about basic economics. And they mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, the digital system. They talked about the crashing of the dollar. The stock markets, things of that nature. Telling people to, start investing in, gold, shit like that. Which really can't save you now. It's somewhat wise of a move. But at the end of the day, these scriptures, your relationship with Yahweh by Shem Shai, this is what's going to determine whether or not you'll be okay in these times. Not a bunker, not no goddamn gold or silver, anything of that nature, anything that's carnal is not going to be able to, really help you in that time. All right. But this is Ezekiel 7:5, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come." This is all that is coming. When I'm talking to, my coworkers, they think there's a future for America. Well, this is what I plan on doing, business, you know what I mean? When I'm at work and I ain't talking, I'm thinking about, instead of $1, I'm thinking about $2, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But these people's mindset is building in America when there's no future here. You kind of a fool. Matter of fact, you is a fool to building a society that's circling the goddamn drain, because this is what's happening. You know what I mean? But this is all that's coming. Evil and only evil. And when you go into the word evil, it means bad times, man. You know what I mean? Bad times. The Great Tribulation and all that, we approaching that time. Most of the people that you see, they getting ready to drop dead. Because 9 times out of 10, they done took that damn, they done trusted in the science. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, these people just, they not speaking for, the heathens, but the jakes. These niggas don't care for the Lord. This is why the Lord said in Ezekiel, what is it, 9:5? Hey, once that death angel is sent, it's not gonna spare nobody. If you don't have that seal, that mark of exemption, them death angels is not gonna spare you. You know what I mean? The death angel hop right on one of these Edomites out here to peel your shit back. You know what I mean? And that's gonna be the case for a lot of, our people out here. All right. But let's go back to this real quick. Slocky. I was gonna say. All right. But reading back in the title, it says, "The Year of Contraction, Trends, Predictions, and Warning for What's Ahead." Right. And this is why it's wise to listen to these Edomites, because this they country. You know what I'm saying? They have shit, built here. So they keep up with what's going on. They keep up with the economy, the stock markets, and the dollar. You know what I'm saying? They keep up with all this because, this is their country. So that's why it's good to listen to these Edomites, like I said many times, because, just like how I brought this out a few times, me and 2 brothers was working in Flagstaff, and some Edomites was working with us, and they telling us about, before America is destroyed, these motherfuckers even saying America is probably gonna be destroyed by Russia. You know what I mean? And that's in what is it, the book of Psalms, where it says their tongue shall fall upon themselves. That's their tongue falling upon themselves. You got Edomites talking about their own country and how Russia probably gonna destroy it, China gonna destroy it. You know what I mean? Which is prophecy, because it is gonna be destroyed. But before it's destroyed, all chaos and turmoil is gonna break out. You know what I mean? But it says trends and predictions and warnings for what's ahead. And it spoke about, or this Edomite titled "The Year of Contraction." All right, so let me grab this real quick, because this is one of the first scriptures that I thought about, man. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 16:37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and on thy slack." And this lists some of those plagues. As a matter of fact, we can go to it real quick. Boom. Economy. You know what I'm saying? They talking about the crashing of the dollar. Tyranny. What is tyranny? Basically like dictatorship. You know what I mean? And a prime example of that is who? Hitler. And we know what he did. You know what I'm saying? Rather it's, fiction or non-fiction. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it like that because, Esau, they be trying to flag your shit over anything. But tyranny, that's what's coming here. Right now, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Soon, you're not gonna be able to leave the city. Like it says in the book of 2nd Ezra 9, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, because a martial law gonna be declared. And what does martial law mean? It's warlike law. War, the First World War, that shit say it all. What happens in war? You know what I mean? Bullets is flying. people is dropping, etc., etc. So what do you think is gonna happen when those Geiger mercenary troops, the Gurger troops, all these blue hats, they over here? What do you think is gonna happen, man? And I'm gonna grab it here in a second because Jeremiah the 6th chapter, that tells you exactly what's gonna be happening. They're gonna be like roaring lions over here, man. All right. Food inflation. Shit over here in Texas. Everybody was trying to move to Texas. You know what I mean? And it's more expensive over here than what it is in Arizona. You know what I mean? When Texas used to be one of the cheapest states, and it still is, but the point being is that shit is starting to get more and more expensive, and it's going to continue to be that way. Right now, it's inflation, but you got another thing called hyperinflation. You know what I'm saying? Hyperinflation is where shit is ridiculously high. For a carton of eggs, the shit may be like $30, if not more than that. You know what I mean? And you already know what's going to happen, once that, happens. Once that's said and done, people are going to be bugging. Like you got that Snicker commercial. You're not yourself when you're hungry. When you get hungry, you know what I'm saying, and you really get desperate to that point, you willing to do anything and everything to put something in your stomach, man. So that violence is coming, one way or another. All right, but back in the 2nd Ezra 16 and 37, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Right? Those contractions, man. All right, which pains when a child cometh forth, they slack not a moment, because once it's that time to give birth to that child, there's no way you're gonna stop that, man. Once it's time for that baby to be pushed out, you just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. It's gonna happen either way it go, whether you like it or not. All right. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon on every side. So this is basically a similitude, a comparison of two things, right? You see how the Lord compared, a woman's contractions when she's, getting ready to give birth, and when she gives birth to these plagues that's getting ready to happen. Right now, we basically entering the beginning of, these contractions of these plagues, man. But eventually, it's gonna be time for the birth, man. And when it's that time, we're gonna be in Jacob's trouble. This is when shit is gonna start popping off. You're gonna see things happening right here, right there. You know what I mean? Those great birth pains, man. Then that woman, once it's time to push that baby out, this is when shit is gonna be really, we're really gonna be in the climax of Jacob's trouble. In other words, man. All right. This is where you're gonna see scriptures like 2nd Ezra 16, 15, the 9th chapter, Luke 21, Matthew the 24th chapter. This is where you're gonna see it all being manifested, man. All right, and it already is. You know what I'm saying? Just, slowly. Hey, slowly but surely, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And with us being those spiritual forecasters, we paying attention and we seeing that this shit is really getting ready to happen. We just waiting for the Lord to just give it that little bit of spice, and then shit gonna kick off, man. If these Edomites is talking about this is the year of contraction, then hey, keep your eyes peeled, man. Cause hey, this could be that year. Adam Ratazah. And when this shit does happen, it's not gonna be pretty. You know what I mean? All right, but as y'all see in 1957, if you actually go and watch this clip, and Adam Ratazah placed the link in the description, they talk about a food crisis, which is basically, somewhat of what we in. Let's not forget about, a couple months back, Esau had, the cargo ships not, bringing in imports. They had them just sitting out there, not even being, unloaded. The shit going bad. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, the farmers, they was being paid off to destroy their crops. And I know recently here in, the city I'm from here in Lubbock, There's a lot of farmers here that's basically giving up on crops and shit because there's like a water shortage or something like that here, man. So that food crisis is here, you know. Economy, of course, I went into that, how they was talking about the crash in the dollar, based on how this, the economy is being crippled. Tyranny, tyranny, I touched on a little bit of that, but that's what's coming. All right. And I got some scriptures actually to get into that. And Hitler, he was a prime example of tyranny. Tyranny is basically like, damn, what the hell? All right, Salaki. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull up the definition. All right, this is the definition for the word tyranny. It says cruel and oppressive government or rule. So how motherfuckers is, was begging, Joe Biden to come in the office and all that, because he was all sweet. He wasn't so-called racist like Trump. He a bigger devil than what Trump was. You know what I mean? This is why they got Trump out of office, because more than likely, Joe Biden gonna get the job done. You know what I mean? The same man that was talking about, he don't want his kids going to school with blacks because there'll be like a jungle or some shit like that. This is that same damn man. He ain't changed not a bit. You know what I'm saying? The scripture says in Sirach the 12th chapter, as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. This man ain't changed. You know what I'm saying? He that same demon. All right, but that cruel and oppressive government of rule, that's how America is gonna be eventually, man. The shit you see in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, how he rules, you know what I'm saying? Because he's basically a dictator. America gonna be way worse than that. You know what I'm saying? How they got fake food over there and shit. In America ain't gonna be no food. You know what I mean? And if there is, it's gonna be in the goddamn FEMA camp. Or it's gonna be in one of these, grocery stores that requires you to scan that RFID, Charagma, you know what I mean? For those that know, you know what I'm saying, you know. You know what I'm saying? And I talked about the blue hats. They gonna be the ones, when martial law is declared, the government is no longer in control. You know what I'm saying? The military is. And the military is not going, or the American military is not going to be the ones that's controlling shit. It's going to be those motherfuckers that's overseas. You know what I mean? And they got anger built up against America because these other countries do not like Babylon, man. You know what I'm saying? They be talking all types of shit. I remember a little while back, probably when I was in middle school, I used to be on YouTube a lot. And I used to see shit about America, and I'd click on it just to look. And I go to the comments, and it'd be, you know what I'm saying, people from Russia, people from other countries talking big shit about America. You know what I'm saying? Talking about fuck America and all this. So how do you think them troops really feel? Because they've been raised knee high to be trained killers. And a lot of them is victims, to Americans. The American military go over there to, places like Iran and Iraq, Afghanistan, and, kill, parents and women and all that, children. They got a grudge. They ain't forget about that. So when they come over here, it's not going to be no mercy. All right? It says people who survive war and escape tyranny, dictatorship, reign of terror. And what is terror? Terror is like, basically like a bad time. Suppression, enslavement. And we know them FEMA camps, them joints is here. You know what I'm saying? It's like over 800 of them to be exact. So, wait until, that martial law is declared. You jakes and shit that think you're gonna shoot it out, you're gonna be the first niggas that get put on a train and be shipped to the nearest FEMA camp. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, like how it tells us in Luke 19:44, if I'm not mistaken, it speaks about how, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it real quick. So I don't butcher. All right, this is Luke 19, and matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 43. It says, "For the day shall come upon thee, that thy enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee around, and keep them in on every side." Right? They gonna, they gonna, basically keep you trapped in. You know, there's a reason why you got hoods and ghettos and shit like that, the projects. You got all that shit surrounded by, train tracks and all that. You know what I'm saying? That's no coincidence. Every hood got railroad tracks around it. That's because Esau gonna have you surrounded. They're gonna grab all y'all up, just say how they did in the purge, and they gonna put your ass on a train and ship you to a damn FEMA camp. It says, I shall lay thee even with the ground, right? Meaning, hey, you're gonna have Jake that's gonna be put to death, point blank, period. Cause you're gonna have Jake that's gonna try to shoot it at, including Jake that know they Israelites, that wear fringes and shit. And it's not gonna go well with you, man. It's not gonna work out in your favor. You're gonna be laid even with the ground. In other words, you're gonna get your ass laid down. And our children within thee, right? Hey, with your kids too. This is why it's important. Hey, this is why you're gonna have that hedge from Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah about you, man. Because the Lord not gonna spread. The Lord is not a respecter of person. The Lord don't give a damn if your baby 2 months old. Hey, if it's predestined to get destroyed, hey, that's just what it's gonna be, point blank, period. We talking about Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, the God of the Bible. All right? That same God you read about in the Old Testament, that's the same God in the New Testament. We just in a grace period, so the Lord is holding back. It says, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation, because Jake not really paying attention, man. You know what I'm saying? You got Jake that do, but for the most part, what is Jake, really focused on? Jake focused on being the cleanest and richest nigga in the hood, flexing on their own people. Vanity, bro. All that shit is not gonna matter real soon, man. All right? Jake trying to impress these women out here. Soon, these women not gonna give a damn about how big your pockets is, because a dollar not gonna matter, man. It don't even matter really now. All right? But that's their tyranny, man. Cruelty, severity, bullying. And that's how these, these blue hats is gonna be over here. They're gonna be bullying shit. All right? They're gonna go in there and take whatever they want. You know what I mean? Take your woman if they want to. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. That's in Zechariah the 14th chapter in the 2nd verse. It speaks about how your houses shall be rifled. In other words, they're going to be broken into, and your women shall be ravished. In other words, they're going to be taken. They're going to be, great. You know what I mean? In other words, they're going to be, popped. You know what I'm saying? Against their own will. You know what I mean? The opposite is what? Democracy. Liberty. Or liberality, which is what? Freedom. There ain't gonna be no freedom here in America. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you're gonna have to take that, you know what, and you're gonna be a perpetual slave to the so-called white man under his digital system. Damn, that's cold, boy. All right. So we can, matter of fact, I might need to get that Jeremiah 6th chapter real quick. Salaki. Let's go to Jeremiah 6th chapter, because I spoke about, the UN troops. All right. So this is Jeremiah 6:22. How long am I going? Oh, all right. Jeremiah 6:22, it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, a people coming from the north country, and a great nation shall be raised from the sides of the earth, right? Talking about these other nations. Those are the nations that's going to be raised from the sides of the earth. They're going to be coming from these foreign countries, and they're going to invade Babylon, if they're not already here. You know what I mean? And I've heard, these Edomites on these podcasts talking about how, they've been letting, the government has been letting, terrorists and things, and they should basically sleeper cells in through the border, let them sneaking in. So, all it takes is just one plague to pop off, and everything else can happen, man. All right. All it takes is turmoil to break out here in Babylon, and blue hats is here. And we know that once they here, it's up from there, man. Ain't no turning back. They're not gonna go back over there to overseas. You know what I'm saying? And that's just gonna be that. Hell no. They gonna stay here, and they gonna be here, man, until the missiles drop. Because they gonna be the ones that's gonna basically be establishing control here in America, because it's gonna be out of control. People are gonna be out here rioting and looting, shooting each other and shit. And them blue hats are gonna be partaking in it too. All right, and we're gonna read it. It says, they shall lay hold on bow and spear. Your modern day bow and spear is talking about, your your guns, man, your rifles, AR-15s, AK-47s, 30-06s, whatever. They are cruel and have no mercy. Don't that sound like tyranny? When you go into the definition, it talked about brutality, terror, cruel. Right? Their voice roar like the sea, and they ride upon horses set in array as men for war against thee, O daughter of Zion, right? Which is talking about their military vehicles. Like when you go to Mexico and you see, what I'm saying, the policia on the back of them trucks with them big ass machine guns. That's how these blue hats is gonna be over here, riding in tanks and shit. Like when we read in Nahum the 3rd chapter, talks about the rattling of the wheels, the prancing horses. That's talking about these military vehicles. It says, let's go to 25. It says, go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy and fear is on every side. There ain't gonna be no escaping. When you go back to Luke the 19th chapter, didn't it talk about how they cast a trench about thee and keep the end on every side? This is what they gonna do. Ain't gonna be no trying to escape unless the Lord is with you. It says, O daughter of my people, gird thee with sackcloth and wallow thyself in ashes. Right? In other words, be in a state of mourning. There's nothing wrong with mirth, but that's not what it's all about, because we're not coming into a time of mirth, man. This shit is getting ready to get, as Jake say, wicked, man. All right, it says, and wallow thyself in ashes, make thee mourning, as for an only son, most bitter lamentation, for the spoiler shall suddenly come upon us. And that's like what, 1 Thessalonians 5:3? For when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them. This shit is gonna happen suddenly, man. You're gonna have things leading up to it, but when Jacob's trouble really happens, it's gonna hit suddenly, man. One day you may be at work and some shit just start happening. Like when you watch like World War Z, they kicking it or whatever, they driving and shit you start to see people transforming basically. And this shit is just happening. You know what I mean? You watch these different natural disaster movies like Greenland. You know what I mean? That's how it's gonna be. All right, so let's go back to this real quick. All right, it says generations of expansion now turn to sudden contraction. It says contraction trends include food supply, debt, energy, right? Blackouts is gonna come, consumer demand, supply chains, and wealth. Empires will contract. GDP will fall for many nations. Population contraction pushes into decivilization effects. Oh, I ain't even see that shit. And we know what's one of the plans when you read them the Georgia Guidestones, to decrease the population down to 500 million, which is that means 91 to 92% of the Earth's population has to be brought down or has to be wiped out in order for Esau's agenda to be fulfilled. So that means it's gonna be a whole lot of people that's gonna basically be put to death. And of course, that's not all that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Esau not gonna really be able to achieve that, but it's gonna be a whole lot of people on the earth that do perish, including 66.6% of our people, man, of the nation of Israel. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, so you better get on your shit, man, because we in that time. And you can say that you don't care now, but you're gonna care whenever reality hit. You know what I mean? It says food inflation will be 50% to 100% of 2023. Damn. So that means shit gonna get more expensive. It's gonna be the cost of living is gonna raise higher and higher. If I'm not mistaken, they said it's gonna be what, $1,000 raise? You have to earn $1,000 more, or spend $1,000 more in order to be able to sustain yourself. Expect food riots, grocery thefts, flash mob, shoplifters, armed guards. And over there in Philadelphia, it's this gas station that's owned, I think, by these Ishmaelites. You know what I'm saying? They basically got armed security out there strapped with, bulletproof vests and AR-15s or shotguns to keep people from stealing shit. So if that's happening now, how much more in that time? You know what I mean? That's 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter all the way. You know what I'm saying? When it talks about, people going to be invading one another because of the lack of bread and a thirst of water, this is what's coming, man. It says stuff is about to become a whole lot more expensive. Huge wave of people moving out of homes and into RV campers or vans. And man, they was already saying that. A lot of people getting ready to be evicted. And we into them colder months, so it's going to be a whole, This shit getting ready to get bad, man. Climate lockdowns will arrive with some cities enforcing sector travel restrictions. Hey, second is 9, man. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able to. Civil unrest will spread around the world as populations freeze, starve, and become homeless. Expect another you know what to be released in 2023 to terrorize and control the population. This a cold ass podcast. I don't want to place the link in the description, but I'm gonna go ahead and enter there, man. I believe that the poem is proven. We definitely in them times, man. 2023. The year of contraction. Coming through the spirit, Apostle Heart deemed it. 2023, the year of all prophecies hopefully being fulfilled. You know what I mean? And all prophecies could be fulfilled, this year, man. All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I've been going, damn near 30 minutes, man. Matter of fact, 30 minutes, 31 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and, close it out right there. I don't want to doubt it unless you're edifying at the point proven. All right. Call like your how about you, man. Shout out to my talk about. Like the woman about it, man.